Hi there. Should you invest in the real estate, invest in the stock market, or buy that car which you've been yearning for long? In this video, we're going to look at all these options so that you know very well the pros and cons of each of these options, and most importantly, the lifetime impact which each of these options has. Because these three options are not the same. And of course, there are different factors which inform the nuances across these options. Like, for example, where you are in your life, what you need, and also what do you desire for when it comes to your future life. You are all much welcomed to the Money Daily TV. My name is Afagza Sifuna. If you are new here, kindly consider subscribing to this channel, and when you still at it, drop a like on this video. Thanks for that. I'm pretty sure most people out here, when they are moving around, they see those amazing cars which people are driving. And of course, as a first instinct for most people out there, they really desire to get a car. More so if they're starting out, for example, their employment, or they get their hands in their first substantial amount of money. Most people out there run to get a car. But the reality, guys, is that unless you are purchasing a motor vehicle to put it in the market for business, chances are that is a very big sunk investment. Of course, I'd say chances are, reason being there's a caveat to it. Look at it this way. Maybe you outrightly just desire to have a car for your own leisure use. Guys, that is a sunk investment in that we're talking about you purchasing a vehicle which is going to be depreciating at the rate of about 20%, 30% each and every year. And in addition to that, you're going to be incurring costs to ensure you maintain this vehicle, whether it's through servicing, fuel, you name it. Outrightly, you are setting yourself to a negative position. And I'm saying so because, in case you have alternatives, maybe you even live in a place which has very good public transport network. Because you're talking about, for example, you are starting out your career, you've gotten your first chunk of big cash, and you're living in a place which has good road access, public vehicle. You don't really need to jump on saving a lot, maybe over the next 3 years, 4 years, to purchase an expensive car. And if it is a must, for example, you get a car, why not consider, for example, a cheap and functional car, or even so, maybe a second-hand and also very functional car. Because at the end of the day, you are looking for a means of transport from point A to point B. You don't need, for example, to save upwards of 40k USD for you to get a car after working so hard for 3 years. That's so because you're gonna have gotten a liability in your hand, given it is depreciating very fast, and also you're gonna be incurring costs month in, month out for you to maintain a particular motor vehicle. And guys, when it comes to acquiring a car, I think one of the biggest mistakes people out there do, they go all in. For example, purchasing a very expensive car, and even so, purchasing either through hire purchase or even going for a loan out there to get a car, which in reality they don't really need in the first place, more so if they are starting out their career. But then again, depending on where you are, maybe you are midpoint in your career. You could be looking, for example, for a vehicle for your family, okay? Maybe a mid-size vehicle which is reasonable priced could be an asset for you because it's going to be assisting you move your family from one point to another. But also in this, the price factor is the main determinant. Don't go all in incurring debt for you to be able to sort movement, because you need to be thinking about how you increase your money instead of thinking about how you are sinking money. Okay? Then let's talk about stock market. I think, guys, investing in the stock market is a better option, more so for a starting professional out there compared to purchasing a car, in case from all parameters they don't really need this car, given they could use alternatives. Putting money in the stock market is one of the best things which a young person can do. And I'm saying so because typically stock markets have a return of somewhere between 7% to 10% annual return. We are talking about you pushing money in the stock market and allowing that money to compound, basically not cashing out your dividends, is going to assist you see your money grow over time. And that's the trick which a good chunk of rich people out here, for example, those big billionaires, multimillionaires, use. They pushed a lot of money in the stock market in their prime years. And then as the years progresses, they've seen their investment grow over time because the stock market averages a return of 7 to 10% each and every year. And with that, it tells you once you put money in the stock market, you're going to see your money increase over time without you actively working for that money. It's because you have lent these companies money for them to utilize, and in the process, the companies are working for you. Of course, when it comes to investing in the stock market, there are key things which you can consider. First and foremost, trade with a legit trading platform. I've seen out here, for example, people put money down in a fake trading platform out there or a website which just sink the money in a very short span of time. Look for those accredited, well registered, regulated platforms out there, or even so, utilize brokers out there in case you are within a given jurisdiction which you have control over or deeply understand. And then you're going to be able to invest in the stock market. And as you go about it, also in your starting, look at those stock options which have been proven and tested over time. For example, you putting money in ETFs. Of course, ETFs have been proven over time to be those stocks which are kind of a bucket of stocks which give you a reasonable return. Instead of, for example, you jumping on meme investments out there. Of course, the broader class of stocks could entail you jumping on individual stocks, ETFs, and also to some extent, you could think about emerging offers in the financial markets. For example, cryptocurrencies, etc. But it is best to, for example, put money in the ETFs instead of you putting money in meme coins. So consider these nuances as you are thinking about investing in the stock market. And then the third option which I talked about, real estate. I think, guys, real estate is the titan of all these options. And I'm saying so because real estate, despite having a requirement of huge upfront investment or huge upfront capital, real estate gives you lifetime returns, and also it gives you promising returns which are bound to increase over time. What do I mean? Real estate, whether you are investing in prime land or even so, investing in building a commercial unit out there, we're talking about kind of investments which outrightly start gaining value. Because, guys, out here, real estate rarely depreciates unless you go to those areas which have outrightly been overpriced and even so don't have growth potential. If not, real estate which you invest in out there, which has commercial potential, chances are right off the bat is going to be increasing in its value. And that is the biggest magic across these investments. Real estate is the titan because with real estate, you're going to see your investment increase as soon as you purchase it. Talk about prime land, talk about you developing a given property. And of course, as the world population continue increasing, we are talking about the demand for real estate continuing to increasing over and over time. You can look, for example, to bet on a real estate and be sure if you lay a good real estate foundation out there, see your property come out very well. We are talking about you having very solid real estate for the next upwards of 30 years. And be sure you're going to have recouped your investment and even so gained much, much more. Guys, those are my thoughts around these three forms of options which you might have: a car, stocks, or even real estate. But of course, we all appreciate the cost of each of these increases. For example, with real estate is very high, upfront cost required. Stock market is the easiest to get into, because even with $100 you're good to go. And the other option, which is a car, this comes down to personal preference and also being smart about having your money work for you instead of you getting into debts just to appease some of the basic appetites out here. What do you all think about these three options? In case you jumped across all of them, which one did you begin with? In case you are a young professional, which of these three options are you considering? Drop a comment down below in the comment section. Let's continue discussing. Cheers, guys, and you all stay safe.